Today we are considering the book of Jeremiah. Not just the book, but the person of Jeremiah as a role model and also as someone that had a particular mission, like all of us, in fact. So the first thing we see is the call of Jeremiah in the first chapter of the book. He was not expecting to be called to what God called him, actually. And we are told he was young. So God comes and tells him, I'm calling you, and the reason I'm calling you is because I've known you before ever you were a twinkle in your parents' eyes. I knew you. I made you. I formed you. I molded you. You are mine, and I've equipped you. And Jeremiah, like many before and after him, argues with God and says, look, this was not what I thought. And anyway, I'm not okay. I'm not planning. I'm not able to do that. I'm just a youth and I don't know how to talk. And if you compare that argument with what God was going to tell him after, you could find that he could have said 3 times the same thing. But God said, no, it's me. I made your mouth, and I'll put my words into you so you don't have any problem. Just say what I say. And basically what God was going to say through Jeremiah, it can be summarized as the days are coming. It was something concerning the future. Not quite imminent, but quite near future. And what we see is that these messages that God gave Jeremiah, they were not for an individual, not even for a family or his own family. They were for the whole of the kingdom. So just imagine yourself in his shoes. And they sound very much like political messages. He was proclaiming the failure of the kingdom and a soon to come invasion. Enemies, a war that his people were going to fail, they would be vanquished, taken into exile, destroyed, killed, a terrible, bloody war. And he was to tell that to his people. So this was very much a political message or political messages, but actually, deep down, they were not political. Politics was only the result of the spiritual state of the nation. And that was what Jeremiah was also to tell the people. Yes, you are going to have a war on your hands. Yes, you are going to lose that war. Yes, you are going to lose people. There will be death and casualty. But at the base of it, the foundation of it, is your disobedience, your idolatry, your abandon of God for foreign false gods. Your attitude is the problem. And so this links closely the political scene of a nation with its spiritual state. And it's something that today people don't want to hear. In Jeremiah's days, people were open to that. They knew that there would be consequences for their idolatry. Here now, in 2022, people don't want to say that. And we're going to see another sequence of this project that his message would be badly received. But what we want to emphasize now is that he had message for a whole nation. His message was political, it was geopolitical, but at the foundation of it, it was highly spiritual. And at the same time, we can see that God did not just roll out his messages and programs. It was a dialogue between Jeremiah and God. And God shared with Jeremiah his heart. And it's another thing we have to learn. We hardly think of the heart of God. We think so much of our own heart. And listen to people around. What you hear is my mental health. And what we see in pictures is selfies and us's. You know, you so much like yourself. Your picture is all over the place. But picture is not important. The heart of God is what counts. And God was so wounded, so hurt by the people. He was describing the nation as an ungrateful bunch of people. That he gave them so much. He said he was the source of living waters. And instead of taking what he was giving them, all they wanted is forget about his own, we know better. And they made cisterns to collect their own water, cisterns that were leaking. Just like you turn the tap and you get clean water, but you say, no, I prefer something else. And then you go to outside and collect water from the potholes. That's exactly what God was describing. And he was so sad about what was going to happen to his people. Because they are the apple of his eye. That's what he describes, the way he says it. That his heart was torn apart by their behavior. And he was so sorry. He couldn't even see the people that he created, those that he nurtured. Think of all the parents that are lamenting over, grown-up children that abandon them and hate them so much. And you can have a glimpse of God's heart. And as he shared this with Jeremiah, Jeremiah felt it very much. Also, what helped Jeremiah to feel God's heart is because it was his own people he was talking about. It's just like having to announce your family that they're all going to be wiped out in a car accident. Nobody wants to be a bearer of bad news like that. But that is what Jeremiah was going to have to do. And Jeremiah was so sad and lamented chapter after chapter. And then added to the book, you have the book of Lamentations, still about Jeremiah. And now that man is known like the weeping prophet. But it's not just that he was weeping. He was not even weeping for himself at all. He was not even weeping because it was his own people. It was a mix of crying for his people and crying for God's abandoning his people and the hurt of God's heart. And I invite you to think deeply about these things. Think deeply about what's going on with our nations as you pray and read the book of Jeremiah again. Bless you.